That's not good. And looks like we're live. How are you doing, guys? Person, not guys. Alrighty. So, today should be an interesting stream, considering some of these topics are really funny. I wanted to start with something pretty funny that I think you're going to enjoy. So, let me get this queued up. Get this queued up here. Alrighty. So, let's roll this intro. We're rolling into another episode of the Minds of Culture podcast. Today's stimulating topics are Biden fumbles, professional victims, and BLM telling lies again. Let's get into all of it. Today we're going to start out for people watching the video version of this. We're going to start out with pretty funny video, but you can hear it if you listen to audio after, of course. But this is going to be a pretty funny. Let's take a listen.
Please get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out. Get out of this property immediately. Out. I don't want to hear anything. Out of this property immediately. I don't want to hear a word. Out. Out. Out of this property immediately until you come back with a warrant. Out.
You heard the man.
Out. 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 Out of this property.
Oh
Immediately
man,
out.
beautiful.
Immediately go out and don't come back. I don't want to talk to you.
He said out. He said out.
Out of this property.
Get out.
Immediately out. I don't care
The
what you
door
have to say.
is over
Out.
there.
Out of this
Get out.
property, you Nazis. Out. Out. Gestapo is not allowed here. Immediately, Gestapo is not allowed. Out. Do you understand English?
Seems like they have a hard time understanding.
So go.
There's no warrant. Get out.
Come back without the warrant. Out, Nazi. Out. Out. You understand? Nazis are not welcome here. Out. And don't come back without the warrant. Do not come back without the warrant. You understand that? You're not welcome here. Nazis are not welcome here. Gestapo is not welcome here.
Go ahead.
Do not come back.
Keep it rolling. Keep strolling.
Psychopaths.
Yep, keep it strolling.
Unbelievable, sick, evil people. Intimidating people in a church during the Passover. You Gestapo, Nazi, communist, fascists. Don't you dare coming back here.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine those psychopaths?
Oof.
Passover.
Alright, well, his mic got a little weird there at the end, but that was pretty funny. So, this, if you don't know, was from a pastor, obviously. They're coming in, of course, to the church, telling them, whatever the state wants them to, of course. But they're going to come in here threatening people. And, it's funny that we have people we have regulation clamping down on just someone trying to, I don't know, express their faith, whether you believe it or not. They're just trying to do that. They ain't hurting nobody. They're inside their building doing their thing. But we can have literally like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B like licking each other's tongues at the Grammys, but that's completely fine. We can have Satan shoes on the market. That's completely fine. Spreading blood around places diluted with ink. we can have the press secretary, Jen Psaki, give her like addresses with no mask or anything, but they come over there, that's where we're going to clamp down. And that just shows you where the state really cares about this stuff. It's not that they actually give a damn about anybody, is that they want control and they're going to do nothing to stop having control. So we're going to move into the next segment here in a moment, but that was I thought that was pretty funny, so I did want to start there. Okay, so we're gonna be moving over to the next segment, and this is going to do with Biden's price hikes. Well, tax hikes, but you'll see it results in the same thing. Let's take a look here. All right, Biden's tax hikes could cost 1 million jobs in 2 years, study finds. This is coming from The Blaze. So, according to a new study from the National Association of Manufacturers, President Joe Biden's plan to significantly increase taxes to pay for his 2.25 trillion infrastructure bill will cost the U.S. economy a whopping 1 million jobs in just 2 short years. The study, conducted by economists at Rice University in Texas, found that if Congress approved the Biden administration proposal to raise the corporate tax rate from 21% to 28%, pare back tax preferences for sources, and increase the capital gains tax on wealthy Americans, among other measures, the result would be devastating for the economy. Total employment measured by hours worked would fall by 0.7%. Initially, before moderating the reduction in hours worked would be equivalent to an employment decline of approximately 1 million full-time jobs in 2023. The economists concluded those jobs would still be gone in 2026 before stabilizing. The average annual reduction in employment will be equivalent to the loss of 600,000 jobs each year over 10 years, they added. Biden's so-called infrastructure plans, the bulk of which does not pay for highways, bridges, and roads, but funds progressive policy initiatives such as climate research, education, and green energy, is slated to cost more than $2 trillion. To pay for the plan, the administration has proposed the largest tax hike in nearly 30 years. Included among the tax hike is Included among the tax hikes is a hike to corporate tax, which Republicans lowered from 21% from 35 during Donald Trump's presidency. The move was aimed at giving the U.S. a competitive global advantage and preventing American businesses from relocating offshore in search of lower tax rates. By raising the corporate tax to 28%, the competitive advantage would be lost. NAM said that the summary of the study's results, the conclusion of this study is inescapable. Following through with tax hikes that give other countries a clear advantage will mean far fewer jobs created in America. The administration may have to seek alternatives for paying for the plan if it is to have any chance of passing in Congress, as some moderate Democrats have been backing the tax hikes along with every Republican. Balking, not backing, balking. Last week, swing vote Democrat Senator Joe Manchin threw cold water on the plan, saying he wouldn't support as is. He specifically cited concerns with raising the corporate tax rate. The study tells us quantitatively what manufacturers from coast to coast will tell you quantitatively. Increasing the tax burden on companies in America means fewer American jobs. 1 million jobs would be lost in the first 2 years, to be exact, NAM President and CEO Jay Timmons added in a statement. Sometimes I like to break those up a little bit and give a little bit of commentary for them, but I felt that just needed to be read as is, just to get the full effect of it. Now, with that, we have pretty clearly that from the study is projected that this is going to be a big problem. These tax hikes, and really what this is just it's the issue here. The government saying, "Oh, we know what to do with your money. We'll spend your money better than you would spend it." That's what this is. If you left people with their money, there would be greater humanitarian efforts, greater charities. There would be all of this would be greater. Man, you know some of the greatest charities happen right here on YouTube with people and Twitch, people live streaming and going on hours of long streams trying to just raise money for certain charities. Those are some of the best donations, some of the best charity jobs, and it's all voluntary. That's what happens when you let people keep their money. That would happen even more and more frequently because people would have more money that they could choose to do what they wanted to do with. That's why the libertarian perspective here, of course, is this is inevitable when government thinks it can do better than the individual, when the collective can do better than than an individual, that specialized individual in various different fields, especially when we're talking about scarce resources with alternative uses. We will always see that market driven and just individual driven aims and goals at various different industries will always be better than government programs because they will typically fail and they will typically hurt more than they help. And the ones they help, they won't help get typically out of the situation. It'll incentivize them to stay exactly where they are, but they'll just be able to get by at this point. And you don't want to get by. You want to thrive and succeed and be great. This doesn't help anybody be great. But we're gonna move on to another Biden story, and this was recently. He was talking about gun violence and some of the executive orders and trying to curb that. So I want to read this article from Insider that is funny how, as Michael Scott would say, how the turntables. Let's take a look. Biden remark on gun show loophole spurs claim that he lied, but it's true that background checks are not always required. More than 1 in 10 U.S. gun owners have purchased a firearm without undergoing federal background check, a loophole available to unlicensed private sellers that President Joe Biden wants to close. Most people those people don't know you walk into a gun store and you buy a gun, you have a background check. But you go to a gun show, you can buy whatever you want and no background check, Biden said Thursday in an address from the White House Rose Garden. False, of course, but let's see what Insider has to say. But that is not exactly true. Commercial dealers at gun shows are subject to the same background check requirements as elsewhere. Only those private sellers, people hawking guns they personally own, can currently evade this in most of the country. So let me go through that again. Only those private sellers, people hawking guns they personally own, can evade this in most of the country. With the 16 states requiring all gun sales to be accompanied by an investigation into the purchaser, according to the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence. Conservative media pounced on Biden's generalization. Biden falsely claims background checks aren't required at gun shows, stated the Daily Caller, a far right website. Joe Biden lied about gun shows, declared the National Review. But lied while making for an eye catching headline is a bit too strong, as the conservative magazine conceded in the body of another post on the controversy. Private transfers, including those at gun shows, only require background checks in certain states, it noted. A 2009 paper released by UC Davis of Medicine drives the point home. A licensed retailer must ask someone purchasing a firearm for identification, ensure that the firearm is for personal use, record the sale, and submit the buyer's information to the federal government. By contrast, a private party, such as an unlicensed vendor or an individual attendee at a gun show, can sell you that same gun or as many guns as you want, and none of these federal safeguards will be in place. Little has changed. Gun sales remain a major forum for private sales, which continue to be largely exempt from background checks. Just now, there is the internet. There is no question firearm purchases can be made from the comfort of one's home. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki pressed on whether Biden's statement was intended to be sweeping as interpreted, pivoted to legislation the president supports. He believes that background checks should be universal, she said. A bill currently before the U.S. Senate would make that happen. But the rule requires 60 votes to pass, including the support of 10 Republicans, the gun show loophole, at least at the federal level, is unlikely to be closed anytime soon. And then, they had to put in, this is how many Americans were killed by guns in 2020. A majority suicides, the highest number in more than 20 years. So let's break this down for one. So, like this article said here, what we have here is it's really a clever way of playing with the words. It's really quite clever on Insider's part. But if you have a modicum of your frontal cortex or brainstem, you can see right through it. So let's address this gun show loophole. You can go to Biden said you can go to a gun show, buy whatever you want, no background check. So that is false because gun shows do require it. That is false. There's no ifs, ands, or but. That is false. Now, we're talking about private sellers. Now, here, you see this bottle of water here? The audio listener, I'm holding a bottle of water. I can go buy a case of water. I can go down to the medium of a busy street, walk down and say, anybody want some of this water? Yeah, I'm selling that. $1 for water. $1 water. If you live in an urban city, you know people do that all the time. I can do that. That's untaxed. There's untaxed dollars. Government ain't getting their fair share of that. Fair share. They're not getting their share of it from what they'd want. I can go down to a corner store, buy some cigarettes, then hang out by the down by the corner, and then just sell loose cigarettes to people. So the idea is that private sellers can sell things outside of regulations is not unique to guns. It's private people just doing things in private manners. And that happens in every single industry, everywhere, all the time. And if you want to say gun show loophole, you have to say the entire earth loophole. Because anywhere on the planet, someone owns something, can sell it to someone else under the table and get away with it in most situations. So I'm not saying that's right or wrong. All I'm saying is that it's definitely right as far as the government doesn't need part of your money. But as far as this is the thing that exists for everything, every industry, everything. So I find it really funny that they're gonna say, oh no, so it's still a gun show loophole because people go to gun shows and then they'll sell it there. Well, they'll also do it in the comfort of their home, and even as the article mentioned, they'll even do it online. So it's not like this is something unique or exclusive to gun shows. The gun show itself does have background checks. So when you say gun show, no background checks, that is false. You can buy whatever you want, that is false. If you're going to say, oh, private sellers can do this, then yeah, you can say that. But private sellers can also sell whatever. Again, they can sell water untaxed. Because the point here, of course, really at the end of the day, is the government getting their money. Not about safety, exactly, but definitely getting their money, getting their cut of the deal. So yes, this is just funny here that they want to act as this. Oh, this is a gun show loophole. If you want to really say it's a loophole, you say the entire earth loophole. So again, Biden's wrong. There is none, and he lied straight to the American people's face. And if you don't actively seek out alternative media to find these things out, and you just stick to places like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, or even places like Insider, which is a far left rag here, you'll be stuck just believing this drivel. When if you look at it in context, saying that a private citizen can sell something without the government's hand on their shoulder, for one, is not a bad thing, and then for two, is not unique to guns, and for three, we have something called 2A, Second Amendment, something about me owning gun. I have the right to bear arms, shall not be infringed. Just keep that in mind. So, last story we're gonna get to for as far as Biden goes is going to be, oh man, it's going to be on Hunter Biden. Now, I don't want to get too much into this exactly as far as I don't want to get too much into this as far as the, how should I say, as far as how much this article covers, because it covers a lot. I just want to give a couple quick tidbits on it and encourage you to go read yourself. I've read it. I'm still looking through a lot of the stuff in here. It's just a lot of information. So no way we can cover this. We could look through this for maybe 2 hours. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to cover a quick couple tidbits and just a general discussion on it. But let's get right into it. So, exclusive. What wasn't in Hunter Biden's book: how he got authorized Secret Service protection, begged Joe Biden to run for the White House to salvage his own reputation, and made pornographic films with prostitutes. Forensic experts prove laptop is president's son's. So, recently, Hunter Biden released his tell-all memoir, Beautiful Things, on Tuesday, but left out shocking details. DailyMail.com can reveal those secrets after the contents of his abandoned laptop, including a cache of 130,000 text messages, 154,000 emails, 2,000 photos were verified by top forensic experts. Hunter left his MacBook Pro laptop at a Wilmington, Delaware computer repair shop in April 2019 and never returned for it. In text from 2019, Hunter begged his father to run for president to salvage Hunter's own reputation. Hunter repeatedly dodged police action against him, despite constantly dealing with drug dealers and prostitutes and having multiple run-ins with the law. The president's son was guarded by a Secret Service agent while on a 2018 drug and prostitute binge in Hollywood, despite not being entitled to the protection at the time. And Hunter appeared to be obsessed with making pornographic films of prostitutes, videos, and photos on his laptop shelf. Tax also showed Joe Biden was afraid his conversations with Hunter was going to be hacked, even as they discussed his White House bid. So that's some of the details I want to go over. Just there's so much in here, so we're not even going to touch on a lot of it, but just to see some of these photos. So right here we do see is Hunter asking, if you don't run, I'll never have a chance of redemption. I'll run, but I need you. H is wrong. H is referring to Hallie Biden. We also have him. We also have him doing this maneuver here. And he says here that's brimming with criminal activity. Oh, goodness. One moment here, guys. OBS had moved over to where it was not supposed to be. So, one moment here. We'll get that fixed. We'll get that fixed up for us. Yeah, audio listener, just some technical difficulties. One moment. We'll resume the show. All right. There we are. Back in business. All right. So, it is brimming with criminal activity, the laptop, drug trafficking, prostitution, and a photo of him grabbing a woman's hair. And we also have another picture coming down here. I do not want to show that, not on YouTube. Again, I highly encourage you to check this out for yourself. But I mean, it is, I mean, it's something out. I mean, it just looks like something out of a really sad bootleg version of The Hangover, if I'm being honest with you. So let's take a look. Let's take a look further down here. And down here further, we have so many instances of we have so many instances of just so many texts. Look, this is 25 plus texts we could go on from here. It's just so many. We have, meth teeth here. We have we have here him in bed with his grieving sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, after his brother Bo's death in his new memoir. He basically is sleeping with his dead brother's wife. And I think sleeping with dead brother's wife is a good place to end that. If you had any questions or concerns of like who this guy is or what he represents, there it is. There's the proof in the pudding, folks. So when I see that, when you see this, and why it's important is that we have to remember that they came after Trump for drinking Diet Coke. There was articles saying, does Diet Coke have a Trump problem? They had scrutiny on his entire family. His very young son was building was I believe he was playing with blocks and he had made like a little city or something. He was playing with something and had made something rather impressive for his age. And there was articles saying we need video proof saying he did this himself. But with Joe Biden, we see nothing but cover up, suppression of the story. Jack Dorsey came out saying it was a mistake to cover it, to suppress the story. He has come out saying that as well. But just remember, this was Trump. And again, me, to be honest, I don't care if you like Trump, dislike Trump. All of them can go stick it as far as I'm concerned. But it's just funny that there's no consistency here. Like my consistency says, get them all out, and bulldoze the buildings. But some people here like their institutions. So if you like your institutions, it's funny that you're gonna just sit by and act like this stuff is not happening and just ignore this massive pile of evidence, damning evidence, and just a reflection of this family's character and how Biden enabled it and did nothing to really try and help it not get to this point. So it just shows if he can't even control or have his son lead a decent life, in what world is he going to help an entire country? Food for thought. Food for thought. But that's going to wrap up what we're doing for our comforter in chief, and we're going to move on to more social issues. And just I found this really funny. So let's take a look here. This is from The Guardian. I was the only black kid in the pool. Why is swimming so white? Only 2% of regular swimmers in England are black. A new film examines the reasons behind this statistic. Filmmaker Ed Akura was 53 when he learned to swim, and only then, through fear that his young daughter might get into trouble and he wouldn't be able to save her. I lived near the Thames, and I said to myself, if anything happened to her and I couldn't help, I would never forgive myself. Until then, he suffered from what is called BL aquaphobia, a word he coined to describe the inherent fear black people have of water. A fear that's very, very different from their white counterparts, he says. Guys, he made up a word, BL aquaphobia. when I wonder when being a professional victim gets old. I'm just curious, like a fear very different from their white counterparts, as if there's nobody that swims that's black. With white people, it's usually to do with something that's happened. I fell into the water and there was an accident, something like that. But there are a lot of black people, myself included, that have aquaphobia and don't even know it. There's a lot of. So you have something else to be afraid of, to be a victim to. You might not even know it yet, but just know you should be afraid of it. According to Swim England, the sport's governing body, 95% of black adults and 80% of black children in England do not swim, and only 2% of regular swimmers are black. So let's see. It says 95% of black adults and 80% of black children do not swim, and only 2% of regular swimmers are black. Interesting. So 2% of regular swimmers are black, apparently. 2% of regular swimmers are black. Percentage of black people in England. Gov.uk, the census. 7.5 million people in England and Wales. 3% were black, African, Caribbean, or black British. 2% of regular swimmers are black. How do you square these numbers? If 95% of black adults and 8% of black children don't swim, but 2% of all regular swimmers are black, and there's only 3% of people in the country. I wonder how you square those numbers. Now, of course, I guess you can say that this is 2% of regular swimmers. So this is just how many people are in the country. But for one, we know that there's hardly any, the point is to say there's hardly any black people in that country. So you're not going to see a lot. And if you're going to say of the swimming population, 2% of them are black. If you say of the whole country's population, 3% of them are black. And of the swimming population, they're 2%. That's pretty on par with the average. So if you want like diversity, if you want something to match the world we live in, people always say, so if we have, say in America, 13% of the population is black. So if we took all the swimmers in America and like 12 or 10% of them were black, that's pretty on par with the amount of people that are black in the country. So in that field is accurately representative of the amount of people compared to the rest of the people in the country. So this is actually pretty on point. It's an alarming statistic that has life-threatening implications. Not if it matches the amount of people that lives there. Occur says with black children, 3 times more likely to drown than white children. So 2 years ago, when his daughter Lolita was 7, he finally took the plunge, documenting his journey from long time avoiding water to lowering himself gingerly into a chilly North London swimming pool. You know, right there, Blacks Can't Swim, the sequel explores that. Right there, I think we're good. I think we got everything we needed out of this article. It's just being a professional victim ever get old? If you don't like to swim, don't swim. If you want to swim, swim. Why is this a black and white thing? Because it seems in this, even in the bit we read, and we didn't get to all of it, it just seems as if he's trying to pin this on white people. Like he's trying to look for a way to say this is white man's fault. Oh, this is different than the white people. White people don't have this fear. White people. What does any of this have to do with white people? There's no white person saying don't swim. You're just trying to fit a square block into a round hole. I have read the rest of the article, and they go on to list some other things as far as, especially like the caps that people use for professional swimming. He says that he does say later that they were made for a white man's head, not for a black man's head. Like all black people have big hair because they said our hair literally defies gravity. As if some white people don't have large hair, large curly hair. I'm pretty sure you've seen that. And and as if all black people have large hair, not like a lot of white people have fades or bald. So it's not as if that's an exclusive thing, but interesting. This is this is sad, honestly. It's sad because it just shows that some people can't just take accountability for themselves. That okay, you never swam, you were scared of it, perfectly fine. But you couldn't just leave it at that. You couldn't leave it at I was scared of swimming, so I never really did it. It had to be the white man's fault. Like it had to be. I wonder if one day people will be able to look at the world for what it is and be like, maybe I should go do something about the things I have issues with rather than complaining and blaming somebody else, some evil white boogeyman. We're going to move on to the next segment. So, this one's going to be about the Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Khan Cullors. Said her name wrong. I don't care. So, she purchased some land in Topanga Canyon Compound. Let's take a look at this place. So, a secluded mini compound tucked in LA's rustic and semi-remote Topanga Canyon was recently sold for a tad more than 1.4 million to a corporate entity that public records show is controlled by Patrice Khan Cullors, 37-year-old social justice visionary and co-founder of the galvanizing and of the Black Lives movement of the Black Lives Matter movement. Let's just move on from there. I'm not reading that. We see Black Lives Matter spawned after the George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin stuff. Yep. Moving on. A winding 15-minute drive from the Commons at Calabasas and a slightly longer and somewhat less serpentine drive from Malibu's Getty Villa. The pint-sized compound spans about 1/4 of an acre. The property is not quite 2,400 square feet, divided between a 3-bedroom and 2-bath main house and a separate one bed that's oof, one bed slash one bath apartment, capable of housing long term with private entry and a living room kitchenette. Interior spaces feature bamboo floors and the spacious open plan living room dining areas valued ceilings clad in knotty pine. Two guest two guest bathrooms, hallways are fairly ordinary, as simple, up to date, especially high end kitchen. An unlandscaped dust bowl with little charm besides the natural beauty of the trees and rugged mountains. So here's some pictures of the location. Nice digs. Nice digs. Hope you help a lot of black people with this place. Hope there's so many black people that get helped by this BLM. Oh man, I wonder how many people you're gonna bring in and help here. Wait a minute, it's just a home for her. Hmm. But I thought we were helping, black people. I thought you were Marxist. I thought you despise capitalism. Why are you paying so much money for a home? It turns out that even Marxists don't want to live in swanky neighborhoods. Black Lives Matter co-founder, Patrice Cullors, self-described trained Marxist, is being accused of hypocrisy for buying $1.4 million compound in the Tony predominantly white community of Topanga Canyon, located in Los Angeles County, as reported by real estate site Dirt. Certainly, Ms. Cullors can afford it. The Black Lives Matter Global Network amassed $90 million in donations last year. She inked a multi-year production deal in October with the Warner Bros. Television Group and has a second book slated for release in October. Still, the criticism over the home was intense, given that BLM openly opposed capitalism and advocated for black communities. Topanga is 88% white and only 1.9% black, according to 2019 Citizens Update. Interesting. I wonder if it was all a power and money grab, and she didn't believe anything she was telling you while lying through her teeth so she could make millions. I wonder. It seems that being a professional hustler is profitable. A professional race hustler is profitable these days, tweeted conservative commentator Dinesh D'Souza. In 2020, the annual report, BLMGN reported 90 million in contributors while calling for defunding the police, blasting white supremacy, and declaring a need to immediately support our black communities. Interesting. Well, why wasn't this money spent in the black communities, or at least a home spent in a black community? Why is that? Why do all these people that want to do stuff for the black community never live there? Never live there. She had a lot of options on where to live. She chose one of the whitest places in California, tweeted conservative sports commentator Jason Whitlock. She'll have her pick of white cops and white people to complain about. That's a choice, bro. The Dirt reported that the 2,400 square foot enclave on 0.27 acres includes a guest house, was sold to a corporate entity controlled by Patrice Cullors, 37, who was married to Black Lives Matter Toronto co-founder Jania Khan. It was never really about improving black lives, just her own, or on the backs of BLM. And many are asking where the 1.4 million came from, asked California Globe's Kathy Grimes. What Cullors really proves is that most people want to live somewhere nice, even Marxists. They don't want to live in inner city slums or gang-infested concrete apartment high-rises where they want everyone else to live. Patrice Cullors, this is from Larry Elder, Black Lives Matter co-founder and trained Marxist, bought a home in Topanga Canyon, California for 1.4 mil. Radical demo, 82% white. Well, racial demo, 82% white and 0.4% black. Don't hate. She also has a timeshare in Wakanda. Mr. Caller says not publicly reported in Dirt Report, and her personal Twitter account has been removed, but she famously described herself as a BLM co-founder, Alyssa Garcia, in 2015 interview as trained Marxist, saying they were super versed on sort of ideological theories. And that is going to be it for that. It's a little longer. You can go ahead and read the rest if you like, but I'm pretty sure you got the gist of what's happening here. Now, if there's any confusion whatsoever, these people don't care about you. They do not care whatsoever. What they care about is maintaining their power, maintaining their control, maintaining their dominance, their mindshare, and making more money hand over fist. So you can hand them all your money and they can run off. They can run off with the loot, get nice homes, and not have helped anybody. So with all this BLM stuff, where is all the money for helping people with their jobs and people with alternative ways outside of the regular federal school system? Where's all the food efforts? Where's the credit efforts? Where's all the extra efforts? Seems like these people just wanted your money. But, you know, y'all don't want to talk about that. But that's why I'm here. Because I'm not going to let them make it. And I'm glad people are calling them out on this. But with that, that's going to be the last segment of the show. And I do hope you guys enjoyed. There was some stream difficulties today. We're going to get those worked out. If you were watching the live stream, we're going to get that worked out for the future video versions. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, have a good one.